I'd like to take a couple of minutes to tell you about IR35. IR35 is the tax regime that applies to freelancers and contractors who work through their own personal service company. That's where they're the shareholder and their company receives the invoice that they're doing the work. Now there's going to be a change in the law in April 2020 whereby HMRC will change the tax regime for these personal service companies. At present, the personal service company itself is responsible for determining the tax status of the individual, whether it's an employee or truly self-employed. From April 2020, the payer, the end user client, or the agency that's booking that particular contractor will be responsible for determining the status. If they get the status wrong, they may be liable to pay additional tax and national insurance liabilities. Now, there's an online tool that the government have provided called CEST, C-E-S-T, which is Check Employment Status for Tax Purposes. Now, you can use that as a guide to determine the employment status, but some commentators have said it's not fit for purpose. Now, what sort of tests do you use to determine whether somebody is an employee or not an employee? Well, one of the principal ones is control. How much control do you, the end user, have over the contractor? For example, if you were to book a plumber to come to your house to fix your toilet because it wasn't flushing properly, the plumber would fix it and you would not tell the plumber how to do that work. Another test is financial risk. What financial risk does the contractor bear when carrying out the work? So if a contractor has his own public liability insurance and professional indemnity insurance, this is an indication that he's taking his own financial risk and there's more likely to be self-employed than employee status. Another test is the right of substitution. What right does the contractor have in practice to arrange for somebody else to carry out the work? Now, we've seen many attempts under the current regime with public services where IR35 already applies, where the contract says that the contractor has a right to appoint a substitute, but in practice they never appoint a substitute. What the courts are doing now is looking more closer at the actual situation and whether in practice a contractor from time to time appoints a substitute. So if you want to look as though you are truly self-employed rather than employee status, it's always best to employ the use of substitutes. So what action can you take to ensure that you're not caught by IR35 as a freelancer or contractor? Well, take advice from your accountants and from your lawyers. Ensure that in practice you have the right to appoint a substitute and you do use substitutes. Ensure that you have control over your own work and are not under the direction of the end user. Make sure you provide your own equipment. As I've already mentioned, you'll have your own public liability insurance and professional indemnity insurance.